What up, YouTube? This is Daniel Rucker with True Table. So it's the weekend, and I don't usually broadcast on the weekend, but I've been consuming some content, different content creators. I've said it before, I follow a few people in this space, Fresh and Fit, Coach Greg Adams, the legendary Kevin Samuels, Donovan Sharp, and so on. And, I was observing one of the Fresh and Fit podcasts. I can't remember the title, so forgive me. However, one of the common threads and things that I hear, not only from Kevin Samuels, not only from Fresh and Fit and Donovan Sharp, is there's this common thread that seems to be echoing amongst men that is saying that their position on where they stand when it comes to women, is that they want to be able to provide 100% of their lifestyle financially and have a woman who seems to be more or less a member of their society, a dependent of all sorts. And it's one of those things that I'm as I'm speaking to you guys on it, I am trying to formulate and gel my core perspective, because one of the things that I know that I differ when it comes to someone even like Kevin Samuels and the gentleman that I mentioned is that I firmly believe in a lot of the pillar foundational truths that is spoken, as far as the respect, as far as the position that a man holds in the equation that is a relationship, and the woman holds as a position in a relationship. However, I think some of the information is being blended to where we're taking old information, old societal standards of sorts, and blending them with modern times. Why do I say that? I say that because at one point in time in human society, we didn't have modernized living. We didn't have a lifestyle that required transportation, mobility, electricity, buildings and things of that nature. We have provided a lifestyle for us humans that is modernized, that is comfort past any point. We have modernized societies, right? And why that's important is because as that has become the new norm, and we now have the same structure that is woman, man, relationships, the contribution of each party has changed, in my opinion. I have always stood on the fact that men's value supersedes their wallet. And I will speak more on this as I continue to put out content. But I firmly believe that. Why? Because there's a perspective that you gain from being a man in the world. There's a perspective that you gain with experience that you get. That even with your woman, it's imperative that you share on this perspective. It's imperative that you share on your experiences, that you share on your viewpoints. Because a lot of times, what I've seen happen is that women, because they do live in the same world we live in, but from a societal standpoint, they get to experience things that we will never experience, or we have to work hella hard to get to the place and level to be able to experience the same type of popularity and natural attention. But that doesn't come without us grinding for it, fellas. And most men listening to me understand this. But besides all that, this correlation between how much money you make and how much value you have is one-dimensional from the standpoint that the monetary value you have, or the ability to acquire resources, means that's one aspect of it. And I know Kevin talks about this, about the high value man and the components of it. And one thing that I learned years and years and years ago, when I was broke, when I didn't have any money, compared to even when I started acquiring money, the nature of my mindset, the outlook of my perspective was more valuable than any amount of money I could ever give any woman I was dealing with. Now, one of the things that I'm struggling with and I'm admitting that I'm struggling with, is that I don't believe that it is beneficial to allow a woman in your life, a full-fledged woman, adult woman, to not partake in what it is to be a full-fledged adult. What do I mean by that? I mean accountability. I mean financial contribution. I mean responsibility. Her showcasing of her development. You know, sometimes in this current show, I'm listening to these men talk to these women, and as a man, I'm like, I don't understand how you would want a woman in your life that it was your sole responsibility to feed her. And what I mean by feed her, I mean by her overall survival is predicated on you. I think that does a disservice to not only yourself, but that does a disservice to her. You know, you're not God. You're a man, just like she's a woman. And I think that, you know, from my perspective, a solid man, a competent man, a confident man would understand, one, his abilities as well as his limitations. And if he chooses to have a woman in his life, as I've done, you know, throughout my time, you know, on this earth, I never wanted a woman around me that was incompetent, that wasn't aware, that wasn't knowledgeable. If she lacked in something, I had no problem sharing. I had no problem showing. I had no problem teaching. And vice versa. I think that is the mutual exchange, the priceless exchange that you can get from the interactions from man to woman, woman to man. And what I heard was these particular men wanted females to be malleable and moldable and, for the most part, a pawn to move. That's just my opinion. Now, some may be saying, well, a true alpha male wants dominance and control. Well, I would consider myself an alpha male based on how I've arrived in society. My perspective on it is that an alpha male understands his position, and he also understands that his environment is going to be manipulated and controlled to the best of his abilities and what he allows to happen. That means interactions, that means relationships, that means, you know, friends, associates, collectively, right? Some of the things that were going on in this broadcast, I couldn't resonate with, because to me, and that's why I use the example of our modernized society, when there was a time that a woman's sole survival was predicated on what we men did, I can understand that. When the world was still new, when the world was still being cultivated, when the world was mysterious to even us men, it was better for us to go out and to make sure it was okay. It was better for us to go out and make sure that things were safe. It was better for us to go out and create and build. And that was our sole responsibility, right? But I think as time has changed, and now where we have now allowed for women to now arrive in the world the way they are, with their career choices and their jobs and, you know, their innovation, I think that any man that feels that a woman's contribution shouldn't be tied to monetary is foolish. Why do I say that? Even with the men that have all of the resources to provide their women, what's interesting is that those women still choose to leave. And not in all cases, but you guys get my point. So what I thought and what came to me was, well, why, if you have a man with all the resources, you know, you never have to work, you never have to worry about money, why would you leave that man? Like, why? If the deal is that you are taken care of, why would you leave? And also, why would a man have you in his life and not make life real to you? Meaning, sweetie, this is what it is. This is what bills look like. This is what responsibility looks like. This is what carrying certain things looks like. Why would a man have you participate in the exchange of being with him and not make you aware through experience what it really is. The reason why a lot of females are shocked or oblivious to what it really takes to run a household, acquire houses, build businesses, is because some men are standing in the way and not allowing them to feel the thump or the discomfort or the burn that comes from having to build. I think that's foolish. I think that's dumb. I also heard him mention, when I say him, I think this was Donovan Sharp, if I'm not mistaken, that he didn't allow for his woman to go out and hang out with her girlfriends without, in a relationship with him. That's his choice. I personally, for me being a confident man, I think that's a weak position. And the reason why I say that is because at the end, she's a person. Like, she's not your object. She's a person. At the same time, allowing for your woman to participate in certain activities sometimes is necessary. Why? Because women naturally are inquisitive. Women naturally operate from places that are not always housed in reality. And you as a man can tell her how the world is. You can explain to her how the world is. But sometimes experience speaks louder and more concrete than even the sound of your voice. So my encouragement is that if you as men, if you are, where was I? So as I was saying, a true sign, if you're struggling with this particular balance and notion and how to look at this, my encouragement is that you have to, first of all, think about what world you want to create. And that world is your individual world. When you come to that conclusion, when you come to that vision and that clarity, then you start to put things in place that will create that type of landscape for yourself. From your disciplines to your focus, your ambition, your mission, collectively, right? And as that starts to crystallize, it'll be the same thing with the woman that you choose to have in your life. Now, in my opinion, and one day, hopefully I get the opportunity to talk to these men and be in company with these men, because I definitely want to have this conversation, because I definitely don't see it the way that they see it. The true sign of a leader is not someone that instructs and micromanages. That to me is a weak position. That to me is something that, one, you cannot necessarily gauge the amount of success you've had if you instruct, but then you manage and monitor, overly manage and monitor. The true sign of a good leader is someone who is able to provide an awareness, a skill set, a thought process, a perspective that even as he's gone, whether that be through the demise of the relationship, whether that be through, the passing of life, whatever the case may be, the lesson sticks, the perspective sticks, the success of what was taught, what she digested, still reaps her reward, even with your removal. And to me, that should be the focus of any man that is deciding to be in a relationship. Why? Would you rather have your woman show you respect because your immediate presence is demanding it, or you have the ability to leave the room and with all the wolves and the lions of the world, excuse me, trying to gain her attention? She understands, one, what she has, and she'd be foolish to lose it and mess it up. Two, she understands how to deal with it and has a confidence in the competence to be able to deal with it the right way and successfully. And three, she would not dare disrespect you because she holds you in such high regard. I did a video the other day talking about a woman needs to have a healthy type of obsession with you. And this is a part of what I'm talking about. And in that healthy obsession, she would understand that any man outside of you would be a backstep, would be a downgrade. So there would be no need to entertain past you. There'd be no need to be curious past you. And I heard things along the lines of, well, I don't want a woman who's going to put herself in a place to where infidelity is more likely to occur. My guy, her feet hitting the floor. It don't matter if she's in a club, she's going to work, she's going to run errands. The ability for her to cheat is always an option. What you want is a woman that would rather cut her arm off, or for lack of a better term, die, than to cross that line of disrespect and lose you. Lose your attention, lose your resources, lose your protection. That to me is a more respectable position. And that requires you to relinquish freedom that she's entitled to as a person. I can't sign up for that one. I can't wrap my mind around me being one having to have a forceful hand on my woman in a way that is domineering. That's just me. And like I said before, and I'm gonna wrap this up, the true sign of a leader is that if you're doing your job as a man and your job supersedes your contribution financially, fellas, it is so much more significant than that. Your woman should be echoing your spirit, your knowledge, your wisdom, your outlook, your mannerisms. If you have the right mannerisms, discipline, and so on and so forth. Because that's the structure. That's how it should be. But to say that, in my final point, a woman shouldn't be, a part of the contribution financially, I disagree. I think that because our society is so modernized, and because we live in a 21st century, society, and we live in a world that uses commerce and uses, fiat currency as trade, why would you remove her from the practice of those things because of your financial success? And to take it further, her earning, her showcasing the ability to earn, produce, and contribute financially does things great for her confidence, for her esteem. And those contributions should be making their way towards your life. Why would I need a woman who I'm doing absolutely everything myself, and her contribution is not necessary, it's not needed, yes. But for her not to participate in that practice, for me, that would be questionable. Your attention alone, ladies, your presence alone, that's free. That's not something that holds the same level of value in the sense of, how do I want to say this? There should be certain levels of tangibles. On my birthday, if it's Wednesday, if you see value in me, and I think that's where a lot of fellas is missing it. I've heard women say that men can't handle when their woman does well financially, or maybe more than them. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that feels like. In all my life, some of the most generous people that's ever been around me have been girls. From just simple things like getting promotions, starting my business, moving into a new place. And I think that there's something a little bit off for men to be sitting here saying that they want to eliminate their woman from being able to know what that's like, to be able to create, contribute, earn, and grow in that area. I think that's outdated information. I think that speaks a lot to that man's psyche and level of security. That's just me. So I just wanted to tap in and touch on that today. Want you guys to really give it some thought. Decide what kind of man you want to be in this world, and create that. This is Daniel Rucker, signing out. Go ahead and like and subscribe when you get a chance. Thank you for hanging out with me today on this beautiful sunny day. And yeah, I'll be uploading another video tomorrow. So thank you. Have a good one.